So next we have Whittle, CEO of Australia African Minerals and Energy Group. William has broad experience over a 30-year career working in technical, commercial, marketing and financial fields of the international exploration and mining industry. He spent 2 years in the 1990s based in Africa as General Manager of the World Geoscience Corporation. This gave a broad perspective over many African countries where the geophysical surveys were conducted. Since then, he has worked for a number of international and Australian companies, including DMC in the Congo, Waratah Resources in the Congo, and Witham Resources, Cameroon and Namibia. William holds a Bachelor in Science and Honours in Geology from the University of Western Australia and is the CEO of the Australia African Minerals and Energy Group. William.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. I felt like I really had our big night last night with the awards for those that were there. It was a great night and very proud of all our members and all the nominations that went in. But today I just wanted to give you a bit of an overview, a bit of a plug, I guess, for AAMEG, for those that don't know what AAMEG is and how it fits into the scene. But certainly it's been coming up to our 10th anniversary. Started by a number of people, including John here, and founded really on the principles around what we now today call ESG, in terms of some of the good work that was done in Africa, and also helping people that are moving into Africa help them succeed. The theme of my talk today really is just, I'll give a quick plug on AAMEG and tell you what it is, and then we'll talk about a little bit of what we've done this year during the pandemic. So quickly, I think a lot of people have been over this in the last couple of days, but obviously there is quite a strong relationship between Australia and Africa in terms of the resource industry, and a big part of AAMEG's role is to make sure that the Australian government and the Australian community understands those links with Africa, and we're heavily involved in diaspora type activities and also dealing with Canberra and federal politicians and state politicians, and certainly I think we've done quite a good job in that. And despite Australia really focusing on China and Southeast Asia, they do know we exist in AAMEG. We get asked to be on a lot of boards and submit a lot of papers in terms of anything to do with Africa. This is a project we did last year, mapping just our members' projects throughout Africa. These are just the ones that are listed on the ASX, and there's probably a few other companies that aren't listed that probably are emissions here, like in Egypt, etc. But as you can see, well spread throughout Africa. I would say at the moment, definitely West Africa is the hottest zone. The Francophone countries seem to be attracting a lot of investment. Historically, obviously, there's a lot in the Anglophone countries, such as South Africa and Zimbabwe, Tanzania, and we hope those countries will come again, and I'm sure they will. We have 98 plus members, mainly exploration project companies, mining companies, but also quite a lot of professional services. We have quite a number of firms that are accounting, law, etc., and a lot of resources services companies such as drilling companies and just met suppliers generally. Our main role is really to connect members and connect those through to strategic stakeholders. So in terms of what we do, as I mentioned, we talk a lot with the Australian government, and we lobby African governments as well, and we have a lot of relationships as well with international organisations such as Transparency International, Red Cross. Quick snapshot of our board for those, most people in this room would know most of those people. Tim Carstens is our chair, and he has been in that role nearly for 5 years, and gave an excellent talk yesterday on the work that Base Resources is doing in Kenya and Madagascar. We have Ben Gargett, who's the head of mining at PwC, who's recently moved to Melbourne. Peter DeLeo from Lycopodium. And then we have Krista Bates from Lavin. Colin, who's new this year, who's had a lot of input through Perseus Mining. Andrew Jennings has been on the board for a long time. With Sarama Resources, who are in Burkina Faso, who are hoping to come on the ASX this year. Hannah Hudson involved in DRC. Mark Norwell, you might know as the new CEO of Parenti Global, and has been a long supporter of Parenti have been and Ausdrill in the past. Joe Taboni is another new director who's been fantastic use this year. Obviously with International SOS, been heavily involved in the pandemic. And John Wellborn is a director as well. John, as you would know, was at Resolute Mining. Our main three areas of focus are advocacy, insights and connections. So everything we do is based around that. So helping our members, raise their profile, providing insights, which is done a lot of the time through our contra and pro bono members. And I must admit we have a lot of support from our members in terms of producing submissions and letters, etc. And connections is very important. And I think maybe everyone knows us for our sundowners and our many seminars that we have, but it is a good way, especially during a pandemic, to get people together in a room. I just wanted to talk quickly about what we did this year in terms of keeping connected. Obviously not many people had heard of Zoom before, but as we all went through the same thing, we went quickly into a lockdown, and then which we worked from home for a couple of months and then went back to the office. But it was a rapidly evolving situation, and AAMEG, we were asked to coordinate phone calls or Zoom meetings, if you like, at the start of the pandemic, and we ended up having a lot of new members through that process. People found that they needed a network to understand what was going on and to work together. Initially, International SOS, even before we went to Mining Indaba in January, I think we probably had the first seminar on coronavirus at that time, and it was a rapidly evolving period. And I think, not sure if Joe's here in the room. Yeah, but Joe, there was a lot of questions in that very first meeting, and it actually gave people a lot of forewarning even before we went off to Cape Town. And then when we came back, obviously we saw it was coming to a degree, and there was a lot of work done around looking at options as countries closed up in terms of air charter services and dealing with Qatar Airways. So the calls were long. There was a lot of information about who had people where, and initially the focus was on getting people home. So we worked closely with the government, and for some reason AAMEG ended up becoming a bit like a travel agency, and we were starting to get queries and requests from all over, especially from New Zealand, Canadian, Swiss embassies, in terms of chartering planes. And our members really came to the fore here. A lot of the members took it upon themselves to charter a plane, which was not cheap, obviously hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then open those seats up to other companies and to other people that were stuck in those countries. So a lot of people were brought home in those couple of months. It was a very busy time. And as it grew, I think some of our members took more of a leadership role, and we started to outsource some of that work to travel agencies. So, so people could book on those flights, and it was done through a travel agent. And it was a tough time, but I must say that everybody worked really well together, and I don't really know of anybody that was stuck too long that wanted to get out. Also, around that, we were obviously in daily contact with DFAT, High Commissions, and with the Africa Group in Canberra, helping arrange transport. There were also a lot of other things going on behind the scenes. There was obviously a lot of talk with ASIO. There was a lot of worry about jihadism and what would happen. We had some seminars with universities trying to look at predictions of how much that would spread and how quickly, and gladly a lot of those didn't come to fruition. Also just dealing with getting people back home and the rules around that. Locally, we've been dealing a lot with the state government around quarantine arrangements. We're obviously very concerned about a lot of our members and their workers coming back who'd been working for quite a long time, a lot of it underground, and coming back to Perth and having to be put into hotels without any windows, etc., and which after a long period away. So we did quite a lot of work to this stage, not really successfully, but letting the government know that these people were coming back. They're used to having a window open, at least being able to get facilities where they had balconies, could see the sun on their face, etc. And some of the other facilities around the world were like that. If you looked at Cairo or somewhere like that, we had our people in facilities where they could go outside, could go to the gym, that type of thing. We continue to work closely with the state government. They've been very aware of our situation, and as we go forward in unwinding all the restrictions, we'll have a seat at the table. Also, I probably might mention the federal government at this level. Many of you that would know, it's quite a tricky getting out of Australia, but we were quite supportive in getting our members to get people out of Australia. So claiming an exemption to leave became a bit of a speciality as well through AAMEG. And as far as I know, I think pretty much everybody that wanted to or had to get out of Australia for work purposes did and have been returning. So we really thank the federal government for that. because these obviously were difficult times, but a lot of our operations, the people that had to go obviously had to keep those operations going, both for safety reasons as well. We also got heavily involved in helping supply testing kits. So for those, we all did a quick learning course on what's the difference between a PCR and a blood prick antibody test, and then sourcing those kits and then helping our members get them to site. So a lot of that was going on. We were sourcing them from China, from Australia, from within Africa, and that was a steep learning curve. And as we know now, testing is critical in terms of controlling and working with COVID-19. So I did mention the exemption application, sorry, it was already there, and then also that sharing of charter information. So right at the end, in the last few months, we have seen AAMEG providing sort of a de facto service in terms of helping people move around. But now as we see countries open up, there isn't the need for that, thankfully, anymore, but we're still here and we'll have to see how the next few months goes. But I'm really proud of our members and the team at AAMEG, what we've done through this time. I think it really came to the fore that people that weren't members just realised that you needed to be part of a group, you needed to be connected to what was going on, because really we were all just sitting at home on laptops or at the office, and all those relationships over the years really count. And I think we can all say that people have worked really well this year, and they have had their operations continue due to those great relationships. So may that go on. So just in summary, to again, highlight the AAMEG experience, be part of something that's exciting and sustainable and innovative. I was really proud also today of a lot of the presentations our members are making when they start off talking about communities, talking about the sustainable way they're doing things, how they addressing how much tax they pay, and rather than talking about CSR or something as a bolt-on to their jobs, it really is the companies are talking about it right from the start and just becomes in their everyday language. And I think that's where hopefully we'll be heading to. And maybe there may not be a role for an AAMEG in the future where everybody is working the same way, and we're part of that journey. But also, obviously, there's a lot of group experience, and people like John who've been around for a long time. The amount of experience is fantastic. Brian Rudd, who's at Capital Drilling, Dave at Geo, all those people that are on every country, they're on the ground, they know how to get things in and out, they know who's who. It's a really good network, and everyone's got a very much looking after each other's interests. I find there's no competition. Just for an example, some of these aeroplanes, you'd have Parenti would be chartering the plane, but they would very happy let other mining contractors hop on that plane as well. It's been fantastic. So again, I think that's really opened up, and also the opportunities that we talk about. John's just talked about M&A. You'll be seeing, there's going to be a lot more M&A. And when you're in AAMEG and you're seeing these companies operate every day to day, you really get to get a good understanding of who are good explorers, who's got good contacts, who's got good ground, who needs help. So it's another esoteric type of benefit from AAMEG that you get when you're a member. And also just, again, leveraging our knowledge and databases. We do have a lot of information about who's where, what's going on. We're lucky to have Alan Cumming the last few weeks, has been doing a great project on mapping all the jurisdictions in Africa, looking at the taxation regime, the tenement regime, how long's an EL, how much do you have to spend, and so we can compare country to country, and then we can obviously highlight the countries that aren't that attractive and help lobby them to improve their fiscal environment. So that's all there for us, and we at AAMEG, myself and Sarah, we're always happy to take your call. And any ideas that you have around seminars or any thoughts, we're always happy to participate and make it happen. So if you want to become an AAMEG member, if you're not already, you can apply online, and there's a membership brochure as well. Membership's open to all Australian and African companies that are participating in Africa's resource industry. And that can be right through from exploration, mineral and energy development, professional services, governments and resource sector services. So thanks very much for your time today, and I hope if you've got any other questions, you can come and see Sarah and myself at the booth. Thanks.